Well, good evening, everybody. Hello and welcome to Biobasics Huddle. This is Ramesh from Biobasics. For those who missed out our first Huddle session, just wanted to let you know that Huddle is where we get together to chat about things that are important to us, things like food, health, farming, environment, sustainability, and such. So, Dr. Saravanan, once again, welcome. And let me start by asking you, what is lifestyle medicine? You've gone through this whole certification in lifestyle medicine. Please tell us about that. Tell us how you came across lifestyle medicine and what role does nutrition have in this lifestyle medicine?
Okay. First of all, I would like to extend my warm welcome to all the participants and my gratitude to Biobasics for organizing this wonderful session. So I'm really happy to see all of you who are interested in knowing more about nutrition, lifestyle, and healthy living. By lifestyle medicine, this is an approach which is focused on lifestyle diseases. And in this approach, the lifestyle modifications such as improving the diet and improving physical activity, addressing stress, mental and emotional stress, and improving the quality of sleep, also improving emotional support, like improving relationships and improving a healthy lifestyle by avoiding risky substances. So these things are given importance to. And by adopting all these healthy lifestyle interventions, we would be able to prevent, treat, and sometimes even reverse most of the so-called lifestyle diseases. In fact, you had rightly mentioned that these lifestyle diseases are like a pandemic right now. In fact, these are like global pandemic, and these diseases kill a lot of people every year, and we could see the statistical data already there. And lifestyle medicine is something which is very interesting for me, because I have a personal connection with nutrition and lifestyle modifications. I explored nutrition and positive lifestyle changes for my own health sake, and that furthered my interest in this field, and I started learning more and more about this. And the more I learned about this approach, it's like very, very interesting for me, and I started doing this since 2011, and I've been seeing a lot of good changes with the clients through my earlier workshops and also through these webinars. So in a nutshell, lifestyle medicine uses a whole food plant-based diet, a plant predominant diet, and physical activity, restorative sleep, and stress management strategies, and avoidance of risky substances. So this is a holistic approach to deal with most of the existing lifestyle diseases. And this approach tries to address most of the causative factors of these lifestyle diseases.
What is interesting to me, Dr. Saravanan, is that I came across this about 10 years ago with when we were in Bombay, we went across this whole things of Dr. Nandita Shah has been advocating this thing about peace versus pills and reversing diabetes. So, and I know that you're associated with her and you've learned from her and all that. So I would like to know, this whole concept of reversing diabetes.
Them who have totally reversed diabetes. So by reversal means improved insulin resistance for a long term, and these are achieved, then we could call that as reversal of diabetes. And this reversal of diabetes can be achieved with the help of positive lifestyle approach, changes in diet. We can achieve the state. If not complete reversal, at least we can reduce the complications of the disease. We can achieve better sugar levels. And this is what we call by reversal of diabetes. And as I said, I have seen many of the people who give 100% compliance and who are committed to this approach have seen the results already. And we could also see that there are a lot of researches being done in this area in lifestyle medicine and reversing of diabetes. This is something very interesting, um, because we have been believing that diabetes has you know uh, has no scope after a certain um stage. If it has reached if somebody has got into the complications of diabetes, like kidney complications, or maybe complications associated with the heart, or maybe diabetic nerve disease. So we think that it's almost the end, but it is not so. Along with the medical interventions, if we can adopt these lifestyle changes, there could be a lot of positive changes happening in people who follow this. And research also has shown that by adopting a diet, a low fat, plant based diet, and positive lifestyle changes, it would be possible to improve the HbA1c levels. And from studies, it's evident that even the neuropathic pain, that means the nerve pain associated with diabetes, can also get better by following this approach, a low fat, plant based dietary approach. And this will help in improving the insulin resistance. So, diabetes, especially type 2 diabetes, is what we are focusing when we focus on reversing diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is a lifestyle disease. And here the problem is mostly the insulin resistance. And many of us think that just reducing the carbs would help in achieving better sugar levels. But in spite of doing that, we are seeing many people who are still suffering with diabetes. So what is actually wrong? What is actually what could be the actual cause? There is one thing which we often ignore, the very fact that fat can contribute to insulin resistance. So this insulin resistance is mostly because of accumulated fat inside the muscle cells. So this fat actually interferes in the utilization of insulin and can lead to insulin resistance and increased sugar levels. That could be considered as the central pillar of lifestyle medicine. And applying this effectively, sound nutrition practice can be very helpful, not only for diabetes, but also for other lifestyle diseases. Um, for the reversal of diabetes, as long as we are eating foods which are coming from plant sources like fruits, vegetables, greens, whole grains, legumes, nuts and seeds, that is what we call as a plant-based diet. So these have to be the main food food groups which we have to focus on when we want to reverse diabetes or any other lifestyle disease. And it's quite simple. We also need to um, we also need to know how to cook all these foods. So that is another part of lifestyle medicine. We call it culinary medicine, where we blend the art of healthy cooking with the science of medicine and also with the science of nutrition. So this is called culinary medicine. Maybe we can talk about this more later. So to put it in simple words, if you're having whole foods, we are not having refined foods. For example, replacing white rice with brown rice, replacing refined polished grains and millets with whole grains and whole millets, and having whole fruits instead of fruit juices. So these are examples for high fiber foods, and these can be considered as whole foods. So if you're eating as close to nature as possible, especially from these plant foods, then it's easier for us to um, achieve good sugar levels, to reduce weight, to reduce cholesterol levels, and lead a healthier life. So it's very simple, a diet which is focused on these plant foods and avoiding the refined foods like white sugars, avoiding refined grains, and avoiding refined oil, and focusing more on whole foods. So, and adopting certain healthy cooking methods. And apart from the diet aspects, if exercise, physical activity, and stress management strategies are incorporated, then we can see even better results or faster results.
Okay, so these are all choices that every the person who is affected has to make, and like you said, going from white rice to red rice and or brown rice and such. We at Biobasics also keep talking about whole foods, and we recommend avoiding all kinds of refined foods, and be it going from white sugar to the raw cane sugar, as we call it, white rice to red rice. And even when it comes to oils, for example, going from the refined oil, which is quite popular in the market today, going from refined oils to cold pressed, whole oils, which is not refined, unrefined oils. So I think that fits in perfectly. We can understand that, but it'll be interesting to know, why is it that, in your view, why is it that it is not commonly known? Is it not known that food can actually help reverse diabetes?
Okay, so this is a very good question. In fact, even medical doctors are not aware of the very fact that adopting these lifestyle changes could be very helpful of these lifestyle diseases. And this approach seems like a Himalayan task for common people. But in fact, it's not a rocket science. It is something very simple which we can do, because we can do this from the comforts of our home if we know the basics. But the general concept is that if we think about diet and a healthy lifestyle, it seems like a really taskful thing. But it's just a matter of changing the behavior, changing our attitude towards diet and lifestyle changes. Once we start adopting this slowly and steadily, we will be seeing the positive changes, the positive impact of the lifestyle changes, and we can see the long-term benefits also. And I would say it will become more popular in the coming days, because more and more people are becoming aware of the fact that lifestyle diseases need to be treated with lifestyle interventions alongside medical treatment. And I hope there are also doctors who are showing interest in this, and I hope this will become mainstream in the future. And I hope today's program is going to create a lot of awareness to people about lifestyle diseases and the ways to prevent, manage, and reverse it with healthy diet and lifestyle changes.
So why only diabetes, Dr. Saravanan? Why not? There are so many other lifestyle diseases like heart disease. You have hypertension. Many people suffering from cancer as well. I don't know whether cancer could be classified as a lifestyle disease. I guess it is. But why only diabetes? Can all any of these or all of these diseases, can they be also be reversed? And are there enough research reports or other studies that are being done or practices being done which have actually shown it to reverse all these lifestyle diseases?
Of course, it's not only diabetes. We can also address other lifestyle diseases such as high blood pressure, heart disease, and high cholesterol problem, certain types of cancers, obesity, and even certain types of autoimmune disorders. All these uh, can be addressed with lifestyle changes and dietary changes. When we start doing something for a particular health problem, say for example, if a person adopts a whole plant-based diet along with some lifestyle changes, he's not only going to he or she is not only going to see the benefits with the blood sugar levels, but also improvement in cholesterol levels, also improvement in their blood pressure readings, and also it's easier to reduce excess weight. So these are all add-on benefits of following a whole food plant-based diet and a healthy lifestyle. And definitely all other lifestyle diseases can be prevented and managed very well with these lifestyle interventions. There are a whole lot of studies which have proven that by adopting a whole food plant-based diet and a healthy lifestyle, we would be able to prevent different types of cancers. We would be able to prevent heart disease, and that is the number one killer, heart disease. So we can prevent that. At least 80% of heart disease can be prevented, and we can definitely prevent most of these lifestyle diseases. Not only prevention, but also we'll be able to manage it well, and in some cases it would be possible to reverse most of these lifestyle conditions. So this approach works for many of these lifestyle diseases, and there are a lot of studies and research studies being done in this area.
Okay, good. So what, I mean, you have been referring to this as plant-based whole food. We understand, like we said, it is going from refined foods to whole foods. When you say plant-based, all you're talking about is avoiding all kinds of animal based products, so ranging from dairy to meat and eggs and things like that. So what, I mean, most of us who in India at least are probably more used to having animal products in a big way in our lives, in our daily lives, be it having milk regularly, or having eggs in the morning, or some of us are non-vegetarians, so we tend to eat a lot of meat as well. So I mean, what would you recommend to them as to how can they transition? That is one point. But the more important point is why, because there's a common feeling that all these animal products are good for the health of the body, for the human health. So what does from your viewpoint, do you agree with that? If not, when you say plant-based, which means that you should not be looking at some of these animal products. So why would you say that they are not essential and we can overcome their absence in our diet?
All right, so this is a very important question. So most of these lifestyle diseases, as I said, are related with dietary factors. There are certain things that contribute to these lifestyle diseases. Say, for example, as a diet which is loaded with saturated fats and loaded with cholesterol and inflammatory proteins. So these can contribute to most of the lifestyle diseases like obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol problem, heart disease, and certain types of cancers. And now, where do these dietary contributing factors come from? I mean, these saturated fats and high cholesterol and inflammatory proteins, simply from these animal-based foods. So that is the reason in lifestyle medicine and also from a whole food plant-based dietary approach, experts recommend focusing more on plant foods and slowly eliminating these foods which are coming from animal-based sources. And we can start doing this slowly and steadily. Consider this. It's all about choosing healthy foods. Let's not focus about when it comes to diet, but if we focus on what to eat and what to give much focus to, then it would be easier to follow this. And the benefits of eating a whole food plant-based diets are evident, and there are a lot of studies in favor of the benefits of a whole food plant-based diet, and a whole food plant-based diet can provide you with all the needed nutrients except for one or two. So except for maybe for vitamin B12 and D, you may not get these from a whole food plant-based diet, but whereas we'll be easily able to get the needed protein. And we think that for calcium, we may have to rely upon dairy. But the truth is that there are very good and even better sources of calcium. For example, beans and greens provide us with calcium. Sesame seeds have adopted these plant foods, if we can incorporate these plant foods regularly, we'll be able to get calcium naturally from the diet. And it's also important that the diet has to be planned well. If it is done so, then we may not end up with deficiencies. In fact, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the largest professional body of nutritionists in the world, they have stated that a well-planned plant-based diet would be appropriate for all stages of life and for different age groups. It's all about planning it, and we wouldn't be losing, and in fact we are going to get more benefits, because if you're going to eat, say for example, if you're going to eat some greens to get more calcium, we are not only consuming calcium, but we are also getting other beneficial nutrients such as fiber and phytonutrients, magnesium, iron, and various other minerals. So plant-based foods are really nutrient dense, and they are actually low in calorie density. So even if we consume this in good quantities, we are not going to end up with excess calories. So there is no calorie counting needed with this approach. There is no need to restrict the portions, and we can eat till we are really satiated. So these are additional benefits of following a plant-based diet. So the happiness index and all these things really matter. So now, from a holistic perspective, we may have to consider everything. Health has to be considered from a holistic perspective: physical, mental, emotional, social, environmental well-being. Everything has its role.
Right. Here's a very interesting question. It says, how is it possible to maintain the vitamins and mineral levels in the required amount? What is the best diet to stay thin? I think weight loss is a major issue for quite a few people. And how can we avoid craving for sweets and sugar products?
All right, I'll start with the cravings. If we are having cravings, then it could be because of many reasons. One could be because we are deprived of some of the essential nutrients. The second thing could be because of stress. So third thing, it can be habitual. So if we start eating a diet which is rich in all these micronutrients, then it would be easier to address these cravings. That is something. And then we can get a lot of nutrients easily available from these plant foods. We need not even need to study what nutrients are present in particular foods. It's simply follow the colors, start eating a rainbow every day. That would help a lot while dealing with cravings. And if there is any stress, that also needs to be addressed. Yeah, did I miss anything?
No, that's it. So you talked about, and then you talked about vitamins and mineral levels also. I think that you've covered the question there. The other question is about adding supplements, because what kind of supplements are required to meet the protein requirements and other requirements? What kind of supplements are required? And is it true that plant-based proteins are less absorbable by the human body?
Okay. So there are a lot of myths about protein from plant-based diets. So I think now it's a time to break all those myths. So we all know that there are animals which are very strong, known for their physical strength, and they simply consume grass. So where do they get their protein from? So it's simply from grass. And that doesn't mean that we have to eat grass, but we have a whole lot of protein sources on a plant-based diet. So even starting from fruits, everything has protein in it. So there are different amino acids, 9 essential amino acids are there, which we need to consume every day. And then there are other amino acids, so which the body can produce by itself. So we have to ensure that we're getting all these essential amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. So how do we get these amino acids? It is by eating a variety of plant foods. So if we are consuming different varieties of legumes and pulses and whole grains and this millets and some superfoods, some local superfoods, for example, amaranth seeds, they are very good source of protein. And so by including these type of foods, and simply we do not even worry about this. We can, as I said earlier, we just need to focus on variety and colors. And if you're consuming these nuts and seeds, all these are going to provide us with protein. Even brown rice is a good source of protein. And the varieties, if we bring in different varieties, we may be able to get in the different amino acids which are needed for building muscles. And there are athletes who are following a whole food plant-based diet, and increasing number of athletes are transitioning towards a whole food plant-based diet, because this approach helps them to improve their stamina, and it helps in faster recovery. So if you're interested, you could watch this movie, The Game Changers, which will give more idea about this. So who may need a protein supplement? And that is, if a person has some particular medical conditions, or if a person is doing very high athletic activity, they may need some protein supplements. But it's not needed that everyone need to go for a protein supplement. We can get the protein easily from all these whole plant foods. And then about other nutrients, as I said, we can get calcium, iron, other minerals, and most of the nutrients easily from a plant-based diet. But when it comes to vitamin B12, we may need to rely upon a supplement. This is because uh, we are living in a modern world where most of us are suffering with vitamin B12 deficiency. So this is mostly because a lot of processed foods and junk foods and unhealthy foods which are getting into our system, that hinders the absorption of vitamin B12. And the more chemicals and pesticides we are consuming, that could also hinder with absorption of vitamin B12. And the sources are scarce these days. Even if I have seen people who are consuming animal-based foods still with vitamin B12 deficiency. So I would say that this is a common problem for us in this modern world. So when you're shifting to a plant-based diet, it is vital that you take a supplement for this vitamin B12. And that is the only thing which we may need ideally. And we can get vitamin D from sunlight exposure if we are exposing to sunlight properly. And for people who may have low vitamin D levels, or people who may have problems where they may not be able to expose themselves to sunlight. For example, people with some autoimmune skin disorders, they may not be able to expose themselves to sunlight every day. So for such people, they may need supplementation. And in fact, these days we get a plant-based vitamin D3 supplements available. So on a whole food plant-based diet, ideally vitamin B12 is the essential supplement. And then if needed, there may be vitamin D3, which we may need to supplement. Apart from this, most of the nutrients, we can get it easily, but only for people who may have absorption issues, or who may have some underlying medical conditions, they may need some specific supplements. For example, people who may have absorption issues, they might need a supplement for omega-3. In fact, we have very good omega-3 sources on a plant-based diet. If you're consuming flax seeds every day, a tablespoon of that, that will provide us with the needed omega-3s. But then if the gut health is not good, if you're not having enough healthy bacteria, or if maybe if I suffer with a celiac disease or something like this, then there are chances that I may not convert this omega-3 which I have eaten in the form of flax seeds into the usable form, such as DHA and EPA. In such a condition, I may need a supplement, but it is not that in general, generally speaking, it's not needed that we may have to choose a supplement for every nutrient. As I said, a whole food plant-based approach would provide us with almost all the nutrients we need, except for vitamin B12 and vitamin D. So vitamin D, we have sunlight as a source. Vitamin B12, we may have to supplement properly. If this is done, we may be able to see better results with lifestyle diseases, and we may be able to enjoy good health.
Okay, so I think you've touched upon quite a few of these questions that folks have. What's the source of B12? We have explained for a vegan. We also are, there's a question as to what kind of plant-based food can be given for tube feed patients with diseases like stroke and cirrhosis.
Okay, so this has to be individualized depending upon the patient's condition. In general, we may be able to, for protein intake, we can, I have seen people getting better with vegetables, mashed vegetables, also with the millet flours or brown rice flours made into liquid porridge cooked well. So these type of foods can be given, but then this is not an ultimate advice. This is just a piece of advice. This has to be highly individualized based on the patient's condition and what type of requirement the particular patient needs. So it has to be dealt by the doctor and dietitian for people who are on tube feeding to a greater extent.
All right. Right. So one of the questions which is actually challenging this concept is, okay, in some cases, most of the cases, people have been able to reverse diabetes, but in some cases, they may not have been successful. What could be the reasons why they were not able to reverse diabetes?
Okay, there could be a lot of reasons. The first thing being compliance. If 100% compliance is not given, the possibilities to get it reversed or getting lesser. And the second reason could be that if the pathology has progressed to a greater extent, so then the reversal process takes a longer time. So in such cases, we may not be able to see a complete reversal, but at least if we can achieve a better sugar levels and better energy levels, better state of health, and if we are able to avoid or prevent some of the complications of diabetes, that itself is achievement, I would say. And disease like vitamin D deficiency could cause some trouble, like fluctuations in blood sugar readings, so that need to be addressed. And stress can also be a contributing factor, which may hinder the progress with diet and lifestyle approach. So we have to see it from a holistic perspective and then address what is missing. And I hope this has to be done on a personalized basis to find out what's wrong in spite of following a whole food plant-based diet. So whole food plant-based diet approach may not be a panacea for everything, but definitely it can help a lot of conditions. It can help prevent and manage a lot of health problems, and in some certain cases, complete reversal is also possible. This is what I have seen from my personal experience.
What about juvenile diabetes?
Type 1 diabetes is not insulin. They are providing insulin from outside. So in this condition, a whole food plant-based diet or this approach may be helpful in preventing further complications, may be helpful in achieving better sugar levels. But here we may not expect a complete reversal, but definitely we can expect positive changes in health, improving the immune function, improving gut health, improving energy levels, and also all can be these all could be possible when a whole food plant-based diet and other lifestyle changes are incorporated along with the medical intervention.
Okay. The next question is, someone has been suffering from rheumatoid arthritis, and can she have milk? Is the question.
Okay. So for most of these autoimmune disorders, dairy products could cause a lot of trouble, because the dairy proteins are inflammatory, and rheumatoid arthritis being an inflammatory disease, these animal proteins can trigger the inflammation. These are called pro-inflammatory. So consider eliminating dairy, but do this with the help of your doctor or a nutritionist, and ensure that the person takes proper foods to get calcium and vitamin D, and try this for a month and see if it helps.
Yeah, I would add there, but possibly most people are used to having the taste of milk, and that I think there are a lot of plant-based milk available now in the market, ranging from soy milk to peanut and coconut milk. Options are very much available. So for those people who want to have milk like items, I think they can shift to plant-based milk as well, I would think.
Yeah, yes, that's a good idea, good advice.
So which is the oil to use in diabetes is a general question, but I think we've addressed it in terms of cold pressed oils, but you can address that as well.
Okay, so when we are focusing on reversal, ideally it is zero oil. So there may not be any need to use oil when we want to reverse a particular disease. And we could use, we may be able to, that's why I said we need to learn a little bit about healthy cooking. So here comes culinary medicine. The role of culinary medicine is to help with help in the practical part. So we know that all these whole plant foods are really helpful. Now we need to make the foods really tastier and healthier, and we have to cook in ways by not depleting the nutrients, and we have to ensure that it's really palatable. That's very important. So healthy food need not be tasteless. Healthy food can be really tasty. I can tell that we can even make pani puris or samosas or whatever we like even without oil. So that is possible, and we have done this in many of the earlier workshops and wellness programs. So it's about just learning a little bit newer techniques, not very advanced techniques. It's simple, and then learning to make the healthier versions of our favorite oily foods. So these can be incorporated in the cooking, and we'll be able to enjoy all our favorite foods and still maintain ideal weight and better sugar levels. So this is very vital when it comes to reversal of diseases. Yeah.
Okay. And does a whole foods diet mean raw food or cooked food?
Okay. So whole food plant-based diet includes raw foods and cooked foods, and it's not only exclusively raw foods. And by whole food plant-based diet, it's not that we have to just eat everything raw. As I said, if we learn the art of healthy cooking, and we will be able to make the healthier versions of everything we like, from pizza to pasta, from ice creams to biryani. All the healthy foods need to be tasteless. So rely upon your own body, but not when it is already loaded with junk food and processed foods. You have to really clean up the body, clean up the system by clean eating, and then you'll be able to assess whether the food is organic or not from the taste, and also from the feeling after eating that process. But when we are following a whole food plant-based diet, it may not be needed. So the idea of whole food means having the foods along with the fiber. So if we have it along with the fiber, we get a lot of benefits, because most of these micronutrients, especially antioxidants, are trapped with the fiber. So never miss the fiber. And of course, once in a while, juicing as a therapeutic means may be helpful, but it's not needed that we may have to have a juice every day, whether a vegetable one or fruit juice. Smoothies are better options when it comes to fruits. Either we have to consume it in the form of whole fruits or in the form of smoothies. And green smoothies are even better, because we get to add more greens into that. We'll be able to get some raw greens into the smoothies. Yeah. So
Okay, I'm going through some of the questions here, which I think you've already addressed. So I'm hoping that these the participants will be okay with that. I'm skipping those. But in case you need to reach out to Dr. Saravanan, please wait till the end. We will be showing the contact details so you can directly connect with him as well. Seaweed in the salads. What's your take on that?
okay, all right. Seaweed in the salads. If you're okay with the taste, if you like it, you can have it. Seaweeds have iodine and other minerals. They're rich in these minerals, and it's very essential that we are not overdoing with these seaweeds too, and ensure that the seaweeds which you get are free from heavy metals and toxins. That is also important. I think I have missed answering the question about the gut flora and what are the fermented foods, the previous question.
Right,
I would
right.
like to answer that now.
Sure.
So there are a lot of fermented foods which we can incorporate on a whole food plant-based diet. Say, for example, lacto-fermented vegetables, and we can make fermented pickles. We can also go for plant-based curds and plant-based buttermilks, which are all good sources of probiotics or healthy bacteria. And it's very important to provide the prebiotics also. Prebiotics means the medium where the gut flora can flourish. So this prebiotics, we easily get it from the plant foods. Plant foods have resistant starches or simply the fiber. These fiber act like the prebiotic and will help in and will help with the thriving of these healthy bacteria in the gut. So we need both prebiotics and probiotics for a healthy gut.
Okay, here there's a difference between nutrients and micronutrients.
Sorry.
Difference between nutrients and micronutrients.
Okay, so nutrients means in general, it's a general term which we use to, it's a broad term. So and nutrients are further divided into macronutrients and micronutrients. So macronutrients are the carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And then the micronutrients are the minerals, the vitamins, the antioxidants, the phytonutrients, all these come under micronutrients. So we need all these nutrients, both the macro and micronutrients, for the optimal functioning of our body to prevent diseases and to lead a healthier life.
Okay, here one of the other questions is about a couple of children they've stopped giving them milk since 2 to 3 years, and they've stopped curd also for about 8 months, and they are more on the leaner side. The question is, how can I give them a wholesome diet which is essential for growing up, which I think you've covered. And it's been 2 years that their new teeth has started coming, but what is but the process is slow. Is slow. What can I do?
Okay, so if you're not giving dairy to the kids, then it's very essential that they are having enough calcium from plant foods. Like as I said earlier, incorporate greens and beans and sesame seeds regularly, and children can have more fats. So doesn't mean unhealthy fats. They can have healthy fats like sesame butter. They can have almonds. They can have these healthier fats incorporated into the diet, and very essential to supplement with vitamin D if they're not properly exposed to sunlight every day, because vitamin D is vital for the absorption of calcium. And if vitamin D is on the lower side, then it could lead to delayed teething and other problems. So ensure that they are having enough sunlight exposure, and if essential, you can check with your family doctor or pediatrician and maybe start a supplement for vitamin D. And as I said, incorporate all these healthy plant foods, all these plant groups, different varieties of foods, and ensure that they are having a source of B12, either a supplement or a fortified food. So if these things are taken care of, then you need not worry, even if they are not consuming dairy.
What vitamin B12 supplement would you suggest?
Okay, so there are different forms of vitamin B12: cyanocobalamin, methylcobalamin, adenosylcobalamin, and then hydroxycobalamin. So the one which I would recommend is methylcobalamin, which is easily absorbed, and the dosage needs to be decided upon individual factors, individual needs. So you may have to check with your doctor or dietitian about the dosage for the methylcobalamin form of B12. In general, we need 5 to 10 mcg of this B12 every day, because it's needed in only small quantities. But if we have deficiencies of B12, then it's needed that the dosage may need to be a little bit on the higher side, and there could also be problems for people, those who have absorption issues. They may need different dosage. So as far as the dosage is considered, you may have to check with your doctor or a nutritionist.
One of the participants has got a special child. He's taking disorder and calcium tablets. I'm not sure what that means. Do you have any alternative medicine there?
Okay, so it's not wise to just recommend without understanding the nutritional status of the child. So just for calcium, you can add all these natural foods like beans and greens, sesame seeds, In fact, figs, all these are sources of calcium. You can incorporate this, and others. I think it's better you check with your doctor or nutritionist and get further advice.
Right.
And yeah, I think there is one question which I would like to answer.
Sure.
So I've seen a question where somebody has asked, eating these whole legumes cause a lot of bloating. So how to deal with that? For that, what we need to do is we have to soak the legumes, whatever legumes or pulses we are using, whether it is dals, maybe moong dal or urad dal, or maybe channa or rajma. Make it a habit to soak it for at least 4 to 6 hours, drain the water, and then cook it. So soaking is a process which helps in removing the anti-nutrients present in these legumes. So these anti-nutrients are the phytates which can hinder the absorption of zinc and other nutrients from these legumes and pulses. So it's always good to soak these. In fact, even grains also we can soak, drain the water, and then cook it with fresh water, so that the bloating will also be reduced, and then we'll be able to absorb most of the nutrients easily.
The next question I see is, can plant-based diet shrink fibroids?
Plant-based diet can definitely help with associated symptoms of fibroid risk. So if there is obesity, if there is if there is other lifestyle, if there is any other lifestyle diseases accompanying, that could all get better. And empirical evidence shows that there are people who have gotten better, who have seen changes with the fibroids also by adopting a plant-based diet. So you can try it and see whether it works for you.
Okay. I skipped a question earlier, but I think the person has asked the question again. Are good eggs good to take for diabetes? One egg a day, is it okay for a vegetarian?
Okay. So ideally on a reversal diet, eggs are not ideal because eggs have a lot of saturated fats and high in cholesterol. So maybe you can try making an omelette with this besan flour or moong flour, or maybe try using tofu to make scramble. So these are some healthier substitutes which you can try.
Okay, Dr. Saravanan, I want to check with you whether it's okay, because there are quite a few questions. Would you like to keep going, or would you like to request them to get in touch with you directly?
Yeah, I think I can take a few more questions.
Right. Yeah. The next question is, can curd be included because the protein is subjected to change in inflammatory conditions?
All right. So even if if the fermentation is taking place, still dairy products would have cholesterol and saturated fats. So if you're looking to shift to a whole food plant-based diet, then you can use totally cholesterol-free plant-based curds like peanut curds, or maybe soy curds, or brown rice and peanut curds. So there are many versions people are making these days. So you could consider these.
Then the question is about, instead of oil, can we use ghee for diabetes?
Okay, so ghee actually has a lot of saturated fats and rich in cholesterol. So that doesn't fit with this low fat plant-based approach. Instead of oil, we may have to use other healthier alternatives. For example, we can use grated coconut, and similarly, we may have to incorporate whole plant-based sources, like we could use a bit of peanut butter or maybe sesame butter in cooking. That would have fiber in it. That would be better alternatives. And we need to learn to cook without oil, like the seasoning without oil. All these will be helpful.
So a question from Oman, actually, where they are dependent largely on bread, milk, eggs, and other fruits and meat. So any other option other than to go, how do they deal with the plant-based diet? How to get the best nutrition for people living in such countries?
Okay, so we may have to plan well. We have to ensure that all these food groups are incorporated when following a plant-based diet. And legumes, I think, may be available everywhere. So consider legumes for B vitamins and proteins. If different varieties of grains are not available, just go with whatever is available there. Go for whole grains. And fruits and vegetables, you can go for whatever available. And in fact, it's okay to go for frozen fruits and vegetables, though they may lack a little bit of nutrients, but it is okay to consume because they provide us with a lot of other nutrients and fiber. And as usual for B12 and D, they may have to rely upon a supplement, and others they can get it on a well-planned plant-based diet.
Any books you can recommend for this plant-based diet, whole foods diet?
Okay, I would recommend reading Rethink Food, 100 Plus Doctors Can't Be Wrong. In that book, I have also contributed a chapter. And then I would also recommend How Not to Die by Dr. Greger. And those who are interested in reversing diabetes, they can read Dr. Neil Bernard's program for reversing diabetes. Those who want to learn more about reversing heart disease, read Dr. Dean Ornish and Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn's works. So these are really informative, and they provide you with the research evidence and the practical part of applying this.
Okay. I'm just going through some of the questions. One of the questions about you, whether you are a naturopath or are you? So, would you like to take that?
If that feels important, I can answer that. Yeah.
Right.
Now, I'm basically a homeopath by qualification, and in the beginning, I think Mr. Ramesh has given a clear introduction about my professional credentials. I have done a PG diploma in health science and applied nutrition, and got certified in lifestyle medicine. I have been practicing. I've been incorporating this lifestyle medicine and plant-based nutrition in my practice, and I've been educating people about healthy living through workshops, wellness programs before, and now after this lockdown, it's only through webinars. So this is in a short about
Cool.
work.
Thanks, Dr. Saravanan. The last question is: the diabetes patients, can they consume dates?
All right. So dates, they come with fiber. So it is okay to have some dates if you're following really whole food plant-based diet. But if you're not following a whole food plant-based diet, it's not recommended to take fruits, all fruits, because it can cause sugar fluctuations. Only when you do this systematically, then dates may be allowed.
All right. So I think we have covered quite a few questions. I'm sorry we would have skipped a few questions here and there. So I apologize. We have not been able to cover all the questions, but I would request Madhu, if she's around, to put up the final details of Dr. Saravanan, so that which on the screen, so that all of you can take note of the phone number, or rather the Instagram page and email address of Dr. Saravanan, and please feel free to connect with him directly for consultation or other questions, etc. And once again, thank you everybody for coming and joining us here. And specifically, Dr. Saravanan, thanks a lot for taking the time and so patiently going through all these questions one by one and answering these questions. I truly believe that young doctors like you are an inspiration for the entire community, where we, on one hand, where we are going towards a lot of wrong things happening in our lifestyles. I think young people like you directing people towards the right path towards health and nutrition. I think it's a much deserved, a much required thing in our society today. So once again, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for answering these questions patiently, and most importantly, thank you for collaborating with BioBasics on this. It has been a wonderful session. Once again, the screen is showing you the contact details of both BioBasics as well as Dr. Saravanan. So please feel free to take down the details and get in touch with him. And if you need any if you have any questions about organic food or want to place your orders with us, we'll be happy to serve both online as well as offline. So once again, thank you everybody for being here. And Dr. Saravanan, thank you so much for.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And I would like to thank BioBasics for the wonderful work you're doing. And I have also had the experience to taste the products for one of my workshops before a few months back. So I'm really happy that you're able to enhance the health of people by providing healthful agricultural produce. Thank you again. Thanks everyone, and I wish you all a good state of health and happiness. Thank you.
Thank you. For the question on does BioBasics have a WhatsApp group, there is a phone number there on the screen. So please, that is the WhatsApp that you can reach out to. All right. So thanks. I believe we have covered all the questions. So once again, thanks everybody. We will call it a day now. Thank you.